All right, let's get into it. Daily trading recap for Thursday, the 16th of September, 2021. SPY little U-shaped day on the books. Nothing absolutely insane in regards to volume or anything. I think around the horn in market internals, NASDAQ $156 billion volume, pretty low. NYSE $238 billion volume. OTC markets $2.1 billion volume. Same that we kind of been seeing, same from the summer months. Just to cover SPY quick again here too, which I always just like to do, keep in touch with what the market is trying to do, maybe looking at more of a swing trade, just opening up my perspective on it, continuing to experiment, research, data collect, put my mind to it. Maybe seeing a little bit of a bottom here, we come and try and collect all-time highs once again, potentially, or maybe we're starting a little downtrend and this is the first pullback to second all-time high attempt that fails to reach maybe even 450 and then starts to pull back a little bit more. We will certainly see and continue to sit where we are either way. Not too much for me coming into market open today. Nothing really hard or passionate about on the scanner. I was keeping an eye on INDP, ANY, and CEI. ANY being my only trade and really cutting it for break even. Just another reminder for me as well too, to stay the heck off of Twitter. Just an absolute wasteland that is of just the mishigas and absolute baloney. Just slamming your head against the wall with every single post that I was reading. I haven't gone on Twitter in a super long time, but just coming back on today was a definite reminder. Stay away. That was the reminder today. Going into the trades and why. Looking for that red to green move. Of course, this is a low floater. It's a Canadian software company. The float is 19.1 million. In this little bit of a, perky trend, but holding well. Still kind of bullish pattern to say the least. Had a pretty decent volume day yesterday as well. Green day. Failed to really continue that breakout move of this kind of regional technical level high here, just below $8 level. Looking for, it had that little bit of a hard sell-off from the hard peaking yesterday as well too. So not like it was just panicking off of that continuation from that nice green move off of the news as well too. I believe it was yesterday. They had news as well. And they also... Interesting, I see here they also had news at 4 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I think I was aware of it. Yeah. Whatever. So looking for that red-green move, obviously coming onto the 730-ish level, but still treating it as if, this whole range is really a factor from 7 to 740. It's not like a hard-to-find level. Of course, even that $7 level yesterday, there's no hard technical levels being set on this one. So really having to stick to that stop range or profit target range of what I was looking for on this one. Really not that huge much of a position size either. Saw it, let it kind of doji or just do whatever it wanted to do within the first minutes of market open. Got a few buyers to come in to push it up closer to this little regional pre-market high. Got my first entry of like 30 shares here at a super stupid fill. I got totally screwed out on both sides, entry and exit, with my limit orders and my stop orders. It's the kind of crux of when I have my active trader window set to buy the ask, and I'm seeing this price action is holding off a VWAP well. I'm thinking, okay, I might take a little bit of a starter position, pretty much at least half of my position size that I would want to take on any up move on this one, which was really I'm not trading it off of the red green move yet, just establishing, hey, I think it could build up speed a little bit more too as we get closer to, the 7.3 area, that 7.4 potential true red to green move. And then even closer, because we would have to be testing that previous high of day, that 7.8 for real profit target trade area for me to be comfortable in taking an exit on that as a good, double or triple of a trade to classify it as that in a sense. So started off with a little bit of 30 and got we were trading at 706 or 707, and then I put buy the ask. I'm like, sweet, okay, level 2's holding well. Time and sales looking like buyers are stepping up to slap the ask. I put that buy the ask order in and get filled 714. Just terrible. Oh, that's the crux of it, of just that little tiny literal milliseconds that can absolutely screw you over. So I said, okay, whatever, I'm in it. It's not ready to cut it if it just absolutely bombs, and still maintaining myself in the mindset of, okay, yes, we got screwed over a little bit, or we screwed ourselves over a little bit, just still maintain the focus as if we're in from that 705, as if we did have a good fill. Keep the perspective in line, which is what I did well. Coming to the next candle, holding decently as well too. I'm thinking shorts are looking to jump in on this one, potentially trading off of this little regional high here, 7-1. That would be potentially squeezed to the upside from that move, trying to pick a top here. It did dump a little bit, but failed to break VWAP. I got another. This was another 30 share. This second candle, or this second entry was another 30 shares, and I think I got another 10 shares here as we bounce off of VWAP, hold well. Bid starts to slap up again, and then we get a nice push again to break that little regional high, new high of day, intraday for market hours, and that's when I'm in the trade to say, okay, sweet. Now we're looking for continuation, price to continue to move away quickly. This is not the most volatile in regards to percentage moves, so I knew that it would have to be a longer sit in order for this thing to travel all the way back up to 7, 4, 6, 8, potentially, if it got some craziness, got some volume coming in, to touch that $8 level, which was a definite way off Narnia reach, but potentially could have happened with the price action and put in yesterday too. Just playing the cards in the probability that could potentially happen, but did not have the legs. We got this huge volume candle doji as well too. Right as it was in this consolidation range, the push comes to the upside and then just gets slammed. This is a green candle though, which is still funny to see that it did buy out a little bit, and that's why I still maintain the position where that usually should be the sign as along to say, okay, it failed to break out. You should be cutting at this point. Shorts are looking to jump in, as that's the confirmation that, man, this thing is having trouble. Although there is some amount of overhead, which of course there is from not even yesterday too, but this little trend we're still in from this day, this huge volume day that went all the way to 12. So just got slammed back down. And this is on my exit, put my stop order just above my average fill price. And then got filled 4 cents down from how fast this tape was moving from my original stop order. Just absolutely, I just did not, I got to take that upon myself. There's nobody else to blame. I just got totally screwed on both sides for that execution prices on all those, even with my pretty small position size in that. That was a good lesson, knock on the chin today to take on that one as well too. So literally break even. I think I lost $2 in slippage in total on all of that, which, yeah, in reality, it probably would have made $1 even, had a little bit more wiggle room with a better average fill price to wait a little bit longer or take that sign of a VWAP crack to give it just a little bit more room if it just wanted to tap any other person or algorithms that had their stops just below VWAP and then potentially bounce up further from there. That's neither here or there. That's beside the point. But yeah, good lesson on that one. And that was really all. That was it for me on the day, just break even. Other tickers I wanted to mention as well too, INDP I mentioned, to just keep my eye on. Of course, it's the big name mover. People looking for that continuation squeeze, just bag holding now too, holding on, living on a prayer. You get this, and looking at this pre-market itself, this looks great. This looks, it's going from 10 to 14, but comparing it to what it did yesterday is just like minuscule. This is a tiny little hill, right? So I have to keep that perspective along with it too, that even though it does look decent here, comparing it to what it literally did just yesterday, keeping the frame of mind of what it can do or how it can be manipulated that way, or the bigger picture for the ticker itself, to just trading it based on the characteristics that this specific ticker holds as well too. I didn't have any specific trade on this one. If it was going to break, if we were showing some decent strength, maybe putting in some bottoms closer to our 945 area after a nice morning spike, potentially could squeeze absolutely crazier with more and more shorts looking to do the exact same thing again, just absolutely shorten the crap out of it and continue to just hold on to dear life, not respecting any amount of stops whatsoever. We could have seen some nice more squeezage to the upside today too, but just didn't happen. $15 obviously became an exact top on this ticker twice here right away in the morning. I think some other millionaire red names in the chat got some nice shorts going off there, like 14.9s, which was pretty sweet to see. And I think a few were actually forced to cover, got scared out a little bit on this reclaim attempt that did end up failing. But even directly from that second failure to break 15, that's a pretty awesome percentage move to the downside on that type of trade. And that's definitely, what I think I will have to be stepping into as a trader in the future, the types of trades of, the probability, the hit rate on those types of trades of respecting your stops and maintaining discipline of cutting losses quickly. If that barely taps above 15, goes to like 15.10, and then does the exact same thing, does this perfect move to break VWAP, little consolidation under VWAP, but still falls to the downside. That type of trade too is just so tough for me because it's a scalpy trade in itself, but I'm going to get stopped out of that so many more times than I feel I would be successful on a chart like this today too, of respecting perfect technical levels and knowing when to cut, or saying, oh, I think I'll take off at 12, versus me saying, no, I think I can go to below $10 today too, and thinking I'm going to play for an all-day fade, whereas I get screwed out and I really may end up having to cover in an emotional panic, or trying to think I'm reading the palm leaves, the banana leaves, in that sense of as it's reclaiming VWAP, coming closer to this high of day test again, thinking, okay, it's looking pretty squeezy, could get out here too. Just avoiding all of that type of trade, and that's all of those facets going into that specific type of short, looking to short the morning spike. But I think that comes with experience as a trader too, and just getting to see more and more of these tapes play out, more and more of these big percentage movers. I think that's just going to come with time too. So I'm excited to continue to talk about it, learn from it, keep these charts in memory, and continue to do more videos, obviously, on them like this too, and keep my money on the sidelines too. Just absolutely going nowhere near as of right now with my shorting and my day trades in that regard. CEI, other one. This one we've been talking about for a while. 8K comes out this morning at 8:30, and obviously the market didn't like it, but it was just a perfect dip buy opportunity. Obviously, in hindsight, I looked preliminary, like totally glanced over what the 8K was, something about an audit. I don't even really know too, just not worth my patience. But got bought up and pretty much went straight up from there, comes close to testing 1.8 again, which is that previous breakout high on the daily here too. We're just in this insane run up still, absolutely destroying shorts in this one. This was the one I looked up on Twitter as well too, just everybody saying, hold on to that rocket ship, it's going to $3, baby, and going, okay, you do you, baby. This one's tough for me though, because man, you can call it an awesome trade here too, as you're getting this VWAP hold and then curling, and then nice entry opportunity here as we're just below that 175, and it does break pretty hard, a far distance away from 1.8 in a sense, 5 cents, which is a pretty decent climb within a 1 minute move. And this, by the way, huge volume candle. This is over $13 million volume in this one candle, which is like 3% of the total dollar volume on the day. Absolutely insane. But excuse me, gets that insane push from a pretty far distance away from that 1.8 line to the upside of 1.8, and doesn't really have the legs to continue. Just kind of chops around, pretends to fail, pretends to, oh, hey, we got another new high a day here, but then just really fails again. Holds like this 178, then breaks that, and then pretends to come back above. So I don't really know what it's going to do going into Friday tomorrow. Because of this little failure and fade here too into the close, it's pretending to hold this 1.7, and that's where we've just been trending. But I think Huddy put it best in the chat too, of the more and more time that it spends at breakout levels, that it just continues to grind slowly, break out to the upside with volume, do the same thing over and over and over again, the less effective that each successive breakout and trend continuation becomes too. I mean, this is the same thing that we're dealing with in the government of inflation, right? Like, oh, just throw out another stimulus. Well, each and every new successive dollar is going to have less and less direct impact in the economy than the one before it too. Because it's just continuing to dilute over and over and over again. You're going to have to put in so much more for it to have the same effect that the previous ones or the initial ones did, like the first days of this multi-day breakout did, in a sense too. So that was pretty eye-opening to see. A great quote on that one. Watching this one in the morning for me too, we get this first attempt to 175, fails to break 175, comes back down just a little bit to hold 165. At this point precisely, I wrote down in my journal as well too, right at 10 o'clock here on the dot, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, I'm thinking this is the new high day attempt, pullback, trying to go for either a new high on that 175 intraday, or this is the failure to break to a new high of day. And I'm thinking, I wrote down in my journal just as a reference point, I think this is the shorting opportunity. I think this is where the downside is going to be put in from here. This is the failure to continue on. I think the trend is over at this point. It's just been up for so long on no news. It's just a pump manipulation. obviously I was wrong, and it's good. Of course, I was not convicted whatsoever to try and actually put a trade on that thesis, but that's just what I wrote down what I thought I was seeing of, hey, this is potentially a failure. That 1.7 is holding here as resistance. I think this thing could just absolutely roll over and die here at this point. But I think a lot of other shorts were obviously keyed in on that same type of thesis, and you got these huge volume candles to squeeze out those fellers to push it to an actual new high of day intraday. So good to see more data, more. I love just being able to, hey, throw out that attempt and make sure that it's I'm writing it down and saying, hey, I think this is an actual thesis. Am I right on that thesis? And understanding now I can look back at it in a day and say, wow, I was definitely wrong on that. By, maybe a few minutes, maybe what ifs. I can throw it all day, but it doesn't matter. It's the price action is the only thing that pays. Maybe after that attempt here and you get this fading break under VWAP, if it doesn't have this little perk back above VWAP to hold through the afternoon lunch time frame, maybe this little perk doesn't happen, and maybe it's just extending the death of this just by a few more half a day. Maybe we get that tomorrow morning, maybe we get that tomorrow afternoon. Does this fade? But certainly keep my eye on it. A great one to learn from. Just not a huge. It is a low floater in a sense, 25 million floater, that oil and gas sector play, which is a little bit of a hotter sector, according to Bowen as well, too, as more of a swing type of thing. But great one to learn from because it's not that huge, just insane volatility price action wise, or just knock your socks off volatility either way. It's just a slow grinder and great. Was it the 14th? That a great trade on that one for me of coming into the day with. Was it Tuesday? Yeah, it was on this day of the trading thesis, developing the plan coming into the market day. What a great ticker to execute on that, rather than just having to be so bogged down as well too by the little tiny hits below stop orders. It respects technical levels to a sense. Of course, it's never going to always be 100% perfect, but this one does a pretty good job too of respecting those hard technical lines, and it's not just going to go absolutely crazy so fast beyond you that you can't. That it forces you to be a little bit emotional too, that you got to be so quick on the trigger and you can't really focus or harness yourself in on what the level 2 is doing, what the time and sale is doing. So great chart to learn from in that sense. Other tickers, Life. Failed offering dump on this one. Offering was at $75 million public offering, released it at 8 o'clock. Well, they actually released it right at the close as of yesterday, that they proposed it and then released the announcing of it at 8 o'clock today, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So I love these kind of failed offering dump attempts. I didn't see this one till afternoon, I think, or even no, I was watching this one in the morning. I didn't see it. I saw it pop up on my scanner as a high percentage mover, but I didn't see it well enough in the pre-market to establish a trading plan to say, hey, it's had the offering, immediately bounced pretty much right after that offering, which I love to see. If it's failing to just dump so continually hard and die after that offering, I think a lot more volatility could come into these types of things, and I've seen it happen over and over again. This is American biotech, low floater as well too. We love to see those boxes being checked here, and still in this kind of, it was looking like it was going to be on the downslope, which is where all the shorts want to pile into, and then they love, as the offering comes in, to say, yes, there's that offering. Now I'm just going to continue to ride the wave and collect the money as it comes in. And then somehow, some way, buyers are coming into this, stepping the price up, and now they're negative in their position in another way, shape, or form. They're like, what the heck? This is stupidity. And it gets them in that confusion type of mindset. And that's the thing I love to trade off of too. Not looking at this as obviously a legit company or a longer swing type of time frame trade, but just saying, hey, I think it's could get people in a confusion state of mind, and I want to be on the opposite side of that trade, profiting off of their confused state of mind, emotional state of trading in a sense. So good opportunity on that one. Hard for me to say that, or hard one in a sense to read of where potentially taking profits to say, okay, we get these huge little, like breaking down, say I'm holding from the morning session here, I've got an average from $9 on the dot, holding this little range here. Okay, sweet, we get to 958, we're holding VWAP still, get another little perk, but it's super wicky. Okay, now we get this actual volume move, push to the upside, getting super wicky again as we break 10. okay, let's take some profits there at least too. But then it's like at this point too, how far does this thing go? Maybe that's a part of some data collection that I do on these type of failed offering dumps, that maybe they go a certain percentage move if they get bought up immediately at a certain amount of time, or whatever data or statistics I try to throw on these types of trades. But this one specifically, just a chart, even as I was watching it, trying to think, okay, if I'm in this thing, I'm placing myself in the position of somebody who's long, or if I had traded on this thesis, thinking, okay, where's a good exit point? How far do I think this thing's going to go? And obviously, you get a pullback here under VWAP, and then this little tiny short squeeze comes out of nowhere, and then you're right back to VWAP once again. And then you get another trend even higher. It goes all the way above 11. Yeah, it's tough. But that's what the market is. I think I've said this a lot of the times too. That's just what this market is going to continue, what the stock market is going to continue to develop to be. Is it's never going to go back to the way it once was, of the videos that we watch of the olden guys trading just these pure, beautiful multi-day breakouts that respected technical levels so precisely, and then you could bounce and play it off of there, and it wasn't stopping people out so crazily. Maybe people weren't using stops as much back then either too, that it was just ticking them out randomly. But it's just going to continue to evolve more and more like this too, of the choppiness that we're going to have to sit through and be tolerant of in order to trade a longer time frame or thesis than the choppiness that this individual 1 minute candle time frame is. Maybe the answer is coming from trading it on a longer candle time frame. Maybe it's coming from, okay, just be trading off of the level 2 and time of sales and reading the emotions in that sense of thinking. Jesse Livermore's doing that, obviously, right? All the great traders, that's how they learn. That's how they, on 20-minute delayed data, they were able to trade off of just seeing a time in sales. That boggles my mind in a sense. Different facets of evolving as a trader and understanding what factors specifically go into where price action goes on a specific day for what reason. I think it's going to be huge going into the future. EEIQ. If you've been watching my videos the past few days, no volume to come in on this one today. What's the volume in total? $13 million volume, 9,000 trades. Okay, but comparing it to what I did that first day, I'm just going to leave it at that. Other tickers that I wanted to mention too, I keep my morning dump scanner up, not really looking to trade on it, but just seeing if it's going to come back around, or if we're seeing any of these types of patterns play out again. PMCB, I feel like I remember this ticker. I don't know if I've traded it to the short side. This was I can remember hearing somebody talk about it for some reason. Was it this day specifically? Don't remember, but I remember the ticker. Didn't have enough wherewithal to try and actually look up and see if I've traded it before, but I just remember the ticker. Had a nice little perk here, obviously respecting that high of day risk level if I'm looking to short this one. It was a little bit choppy, not a pure A+, what I would consider that morning dump pattern trade that I've talked about before and charted and traded upon multiple times, but still it would have ended up profitable if I'm respecting the trade plan that I come into this with, and you get a nice 10%, you get 10% move right away in the morning session, and we get that failure to break VWAP as well too for a little more on the downside. Good trend on that one. And LKCO, similar thing, again, similar. I remember this ticker for some reason. I think I definitely traded it. Maybe in this run up here, 2020, did it do something? Looks like it did something back then. But again, similar news type of pump. Announced sign cooperation with autonomous driving services. Putting in those buzzwords, trying to get some attraction. This is a Chinese company. It's super high float on this one as well too. You get this little perk, and then it does actually break that spike high of day. It was a pretty decent percentage move as well too, but again, super high float, Chinese sketchy company, not really in the biotech sector, is just the home run hitter of what this pattern is that I look to trade to, but it can happen with other sector tickers as well. And just keeping an eye on it. And it did, you get this you get 2 different breaks of high a day, but not by much. And if you're a short in this one, if you're an INDP type of short and you're trading this one, man, it was pretty decent trade too. You're just scaling in all along the way, and then you come out with a nice percentage move, nice gain on the downside, playing the fade all the rest of the afternoon. But again, that same type of thing of, hey, I want to stick to a rule set. I want to keep myself safe. Just want to play the hit rate on these types of trades too. It's just tough with these ones that it barely just scalps you out, grabs your order as you're respecting proper risk management and establishing your rule set going into the trade. So what the markets do is just to prey upon that, and it wants to get those emotional type of players in this one. And these are the types of charts that I think build those shorts that go into the INDPs and all the Twitter dummies. Just ludicrous. But, good to see. That's what I'm really looking for is I want to see that all day fade trend. That's what I want to see this thing. Okay, whatever it has the morning spikeage, just a little fool around. That type of the morning dump type of trend that I feel like I'm super confident in and would absolutely start nailing once again if I saw it playing out more and more. I think it evolves. It has to start from the understanding that these things just need to die within the same day. If it gets that news pump in the morning, it needs to be down close to the previous close within that same day too, which is what I'm looking for to even get me motivated to start to trade these things again too. So good to see in a little sense on LKCO and PMCB. Watch list going in for tomorrow. Again, keeping my eye on those big percentage movers if we're going to get any. ILUS, an OTC ticker that really missed. I only saw just coming in on the scanner here after hours before prep here. Nice breakout opportunity. This is actually a Scottsdale company, I believe, too. I'm going to look it up quick. Oh, I was way off. It says United Kingdom Chinese production based in London. Sketchy. Whatever it is. I think Huddy is in this one. He tried to play this one well, too, for the breakout, and then I think he got stopped out in this hard little sell-off. It happened right here with some decent volume, but then held that little range and now perked a little bit, closing at 22. See what it wants to do tomorrow. No hard trade for me yet to think that how far it already is again in this little run-up to the breakout point of if a, call it a second day type of play, but a just buy at the open, sell into a morning spike type of situation would work on this one. I think Swarm was a great opportunity on that one today too. Just a little perk, second day play, buying pretty much immediately right out of the open. I know Chris tried to get in this one, didn't get filled. Little 10%, beyond 10% opportunity within 2 minutes on that ticker today too. We're seeing a little bit more of that on OTCs coming around. Keeping my eye on it. Again, no hard set passionate ideas on it as of right now, but certainly aware of it going into tomorrow. So, and then absolutely keep my eye on it for a panic dip buy if it will be offered. Not an insane amount of volume being put in on this one. And judging from the past as well too, of just all these choppy red days, we'll see if it actually wants to produce a pretty decent panic dip buy opportunity and absolutely strike on it. Hammer that thing if it wants to do it. Excuse me, that is all I had today. I sincerely thank you guys for watching. Coming in just under that half hour mark, 28 minutes, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 seconds. We will catch you guys tomorrow.